So it doesn't matter if we get 2 or 102 viewers. We got some pretty cool stories to tell.
We talk to ourselves.
You talk to yourself and you post it. People will watch it. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Well, recap of Lake Greenwood. Me, Ryan, and Jacob decided to take a trip on down there with the SC Bass Trail. See what we'd come up with. Me and Ryan went down Friday to practice, and Jacob came down Friday night. We stayed in the old fish shack down by the rivers.
Yeah. So, Jacob, I don't know if you were here for this when we first got there. It was so hot inside, and the ACs weren't too good. So the way we cooled the room is we actually opened the refrigerator and freezer and let it sit.
No, I wasn't here for that. That old 1940s air conditioner was running good when I got there.
Yeah, it took a while to catch up. And once the refrigerator and freezer defrosted, I had to close it and let it cool down and open it back again. I think that's what really cooled it down. Because the AC on my side wasn't doing nothing.
Yeah, we cut that on, then went back outside because it felt better outside with the breeze than it did in there.
Yeah, it's all right. It did its job. I've stayed in some sketchy places around. I think the sketchiest place I've ever stayed was on Logan Martin in Alabama. That one was pretty rough. I actually left out in the night to get a chain to chain my kayak to the trailer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there were like crackheads in the parking lot dealing crack on the back of my kayak. Like, no lie. But
Well, that one, it was pretty clean. I didn't get eaten alive by bed bugs. I got kicked in the head. But
as long as there's no bed bugs or roaches, I'm fine. But yeah, Jacob, he got beat up twice. One of them boys kicked him in the head or the face first, and then they held him. The Bass Boat boys held him down and stole his graph off his kayak, and he had a rough go.
I was ready to fight all of them. Ask Caleb. I was right in the middle of that tournament tent.
It took me a long time to get back motoring wide open, and I was like, dang, where'd he go?
I just pulled up to the dock, and I got off my kayak, and Jacob come marching down there. And he had that look on his face. I was like, what is wrong with this dude? I mean, it would pissed him off. He's like, between me going to my car, bag, my graph went missing. Somebody took that thing. Are you sure it didn't fall in the water or something? I don't know. Somebody took it.
All I know is I got back to the dock. I turned the graph off. I tied my kayak up, went and got the car, loaded it up, and drove back to the parking spot. And then when I started taking everything apart, my graph was gone. The mount was still there. The cradle that holds the graph was still there. All the wires were still hooked up. But those Garmin's, the cradle has the little handle you can just lift up and pull the graph off.
No, it comes out though. The face piece comes off.
Yep.
Clip in.
Yep. So it had to have unclipped somehow. Now, I mean, when I was sitting on the edge of the dock, I may have hit the clip with my butt and it fell off, and that's what I was thinking. So I walked back down to the dock trying to figure out if it had fallen in the water. I was going to get down there and get it because, the water's pretty clear. And it wasn't there. And then Caleb said, I saw some guys in a bass boat pick something up out of the street. And I was like, these mother bitches. So I went walking straight up to the tent of the trail. I'm not going to say what trail it was, but went walking straight up to the tent of the trail.
I'll say what trail it was. Meow.
And they were all standing there talking about their day, all 4 boats of them. And I said, hey, anybody seen a 9-inch Garmin? I think it fell off my kayak. I didn't accuse anybody, but I knew who it was because Caleb saw him pick something up out of the road. So I'm sitting there staring at this dude for a good 2 minutes, and he just shook his head no at first. And then I wouldn't walk away. I just stood right directly in the circle of their weigh-in, so they couldn't even have the weigh-in. I just stood right there in the middle and stared at this dude, and he finally was like, I got you, bro. You're lucky I found it. I was going to give it to some random kayaker. Like, no, you weren't, bro. There's 4 of us here, and 3 of them are standing in the parking lot. You weren't about to give it to anybody. He's like, well, you're also lucky it didn't crack. I was like, bro, I can fix it. I can have a screen replaced. You were not about to give this to me. I was not about to leave, so I knew you had it because I'm sitting there staring the dude in the eye. But he gave it back, and it was raining, and I was pissed because I'd only caught 5 keepers all day, and I told Caleb, I said, I'm leaving. He said, you're not going to rent on Ryan? I said, no, I'm going now. But I got the Garmin back. It works, and no harm, no foul. But that stuff sure was sitting in the front seat of his truck. He had wiped it off. He was getting ready to take it home.
Dang.
It's like he came out right behind you. So it's like whose kayak this came off of.
There was only one boat it could have been. They came out.
It's a Blue Ranger. I told you who it was.
Yeah. The old 1990s Ranger. There was only one in the parking lot. The other one was a bass tracker, and he came out in front of me. So I knew it wasn't them because you had to walk, a good 70 yards to get from the ramp to the parking lot. So I knew it had to have fallen off between here and there. Good thing is the owner of the trail, the director, was actually fixing to come help me look for it in the water. So that was a stand-up guy. It was just one of the members that decided they were going to keep my 9-inch Garmin if nobody said anything.
Golly. Andrew Blair said, what's a graph? And is this the Scopers Club?
Yeah, this is
Yes.
Scopers. Andrew.
I don't know what Live Scope is.
Here you go, Andrew. Club, buddy. Scopers Club.
Yeah, well. Anyways, we'll get a little deeper into it, I guess. So mainly what I want to do, as far as what I, talk about, is to try to gain some more, build on the attendance of our club, the CYC, our other local clubs, and potentially Bass Nation. Before I get into my day, Bass Nation this year, it's not this massive club. I will tell you, it has some of the best kayak anglers that you will ever see fishing in it. But you learn along the way. You're going to go to places you've never been before. And like as far as you local guys that are local to Santee and mainly fish Santee, there's 2 events left for Bass Nation this year. And if you fish either one of those 2 events and finish, by the time we're into this next one and the last one, you don't hardly have to catch 5, and you should qualify for the Bass Nation Championship. And this year, the Bass Nation Championship happens to be on Santee. So, it's kind of a win-win for you guys. And if you do good at that one, then you qualify for the big Bassmaster deal. But, that's a whole other story. But going into practice for me, what time did we get there? We got there at daylight, didn't we, Friday?
Yeah.
I think Caleb was running a little behind. I had to take off.
I woke up and I thought you were still asleep, so I packed it back up and I laid back down the bed because I got up at like 2:30. I said, look, my phone. I said, well, Ryan, he ain't popped up on Facebook yet. I'm gonna just going back to bed. 3:30 rolls around. He's like, yeah, I'll be there at 5:10. I was like, oh crap, I gotta get in the truck.
Yeah, I left home at 1:45.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we got there at daylight, and I don't think any of us have ever fished Greenwood, right? I know I haven't.
Never been.
I went when I was a kid, but it's been 20 years.
Yeah. So leading up to it, before we went that Friday, I just checked the contours and mapping, and I try to find an area that has a lot of things in one spot. And after a few minutes, I found one spot on the map. This was about, 50 square yards. It had an offshore hump, a long, fast tapering point, a ledge, and a channel swing, all in this one spot. The channel swing runs by the hump. The hump is off the tip of a point, and the ledge runs both ways. It was just the perfect storm of what I would look for in a very tight area. And I went there that morning, Friday morning before practice, to the hump. I was figuring fish would be pushing bait up on the hump. And like the first 2 or 3 casts, I catch a 23 largemouth. Another is like 20 or 21 largemouth. Jumped off another one that was probably bigger than the 21 or 23, and it had a lot of spots, in the area, and they were actually chasing bait. And I think kind of the rest of the day I left it. Me and Caleb messed around for a little while, hopping other points, but I was kind of locked in for my spot. I didn't have a plan B.
Mind you, that was our plan B. Well, our original plan was to fish where the cabin,
The two ri-
apartment, fish
the two
shack up
rivers
at the
meet.
two rivers. Because
Yeah,
we
where
did
the two
some
rivers meet.
internet research and that seemed like the better spot. And I wake up the next morning, Friday morning, he's like, "Yeah, I'm going here. Meet me here." I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay." On the
It
exact
rained
opposite
so-
end.
Yeah, it rained so much, I was worried that the rivers were going to blow out and it was going to be a mud pit up there.
Mhm.
So that's because I figured there'd be more and bigger largemouth up there, but I was scared I was going to show up and not do good. I'm in the running for AOI, and I wanted to make sure I catch 5, so I thought it'd be much safer going to the south end because I knew I could catch 5 spots and do good in points. You know, spots are generally they're not too hard to catch if you've never caught them before. They love to eat, and if it's a bright sunny day and you're on them, you're going to catch them. It might not all be giants, but you're going to catch fish. So that's what we did. And Saturday morning, Friday night when we were rigging up, we were like, hey, maybe we should check to see if there's some bass boat tournaments going on this weekend. And I swear to God, I told y'all, I was like, we better check our ramp because that's a pretty big ramp. And the cat trail final was going out of it that morning. I was like, well, might not be good. And sure enough, we launched that morning, and I'm like 40 yards from my spot. Like I'm already about to back off on the trolling motor, and I'd already actually dumped the live scope transducer, and the bass boat blows by me and cuts me off and sits down on top of it. Oh. So I spot locked off of the point, off of the hump, and it was still 20 minutes till lines in, and I watched him catch fish off of the spot I was going to fish for 20 minutes straight, just back to back. He was just jacking them, big ones too, on the crankbait, which is what I was doing. The lines in, rolls around. I have one big crankbait rod in my boat, and first cast, you backlash it to the knuckle bone. It fell into the lake the day before and got wet, and I never reset the magnets, had water in the reel, and I backlashed it to the spool. And while trying to pull the backlash out, my motor on spot lock grabs the line, wraps about 200 yards of line in the prop, ends up breaking the tip on it. It was rough. I think at 11 o'clock I had 0. I wasn't sandbagging for anybody that asked. I know Ben had asked me when I got back to the ramp I was sandbagging. I was like, nah, dude, I was at 0 at 11. I ended up uploading right as the order was going off. But it was a scrappy day. I think I had a limit of spots, small spots first, and then I switched over to the big worm and just went after it. I had marked a couple brush piles the day before off the ends of deep docks. And there were some docks that were really deep, had poles beside them, and I just went after those. I actually went over 8 miles for those with the big worm and ended up culling, I think, twice. I picked up 2 18s and finished in 3rd place. Would have done a lot better. I ended up with 2 13s in my bag. One of the fish that I jumped off one of the big spots would have gave me the win, but I mean, that's the way it goes. It was just a terrible day. When I had a day that started as terrible as mine did, probably didn't even deserve top 10, but it is what it is.
Still a very strong finish. And like you said, that group is chock full of very, very, very talented anglers. So anytime you're in the top 5, even top 10 in a group like that, that's impressive. It's a good day at the office for sure.
Yeah. And Caleb, I
tell
heard you found the Mecca Friday.
Bro. So we get down there Friday. I pulled down to the ramp. Ryan was already in the water after he had texted at 5:45 saying he had a limit. I knew he was bluffing. I get down there. He's finishing up, getting down the water and everything. Walks up, telling me where he's going. He takes off. I get down there and he fishes that spot he found, and I go probably 50 to 100 yards to the right of him to another point I found. And I caught 5 fish right there. Biggest spot being 18 3/4. And I worked because there was some secondary points on each side, and I worked each side, and they came out deep. The first school I found was probably in 40 foot of water, and they were running around. I was just trying to chase them with a minnow, and he ended up working in there some more, and I ended up working out back towards the dam, and I stopped short at that bottleneck spot that I think Jacob started at on Saturday. I didn't fish that. I stopped short and shot across, and I found that point. And what it was There's a bang point that came out to where the river channel comes in close to the bank, and it's a steep ledge. And I was able to set up on the shallow side of it and look down that ledge, and just everywhere I pan, fish, 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 brush, cane pile. I ended up fishing that, and I should have left it alone after a while, but I just kept on catching spots, and I wanted to see if there was a largemouth down there because I saw some bigger marks, and ended up pulling up an 18-inch largemouth. And it's just I should have left it alone. That's what I should have done. But I think Friday I ended up catching probably between 20 and 25 fish out of a few spots. I stopped that, but
So call it like it was. You sore mouthed your own spot.
probably yeah.
Yeah,
You beat it up.
Did.
It was exciting, man, because Hartwell didn't go well for me.
And
We
what did I
went-
text? What did I text you while you were sending those pictures? What did
I kept on sending pictures after you told me to stop.
what did I said
I mean,
stop.
dude,
Leave
I was
alone."
on them. When I tell you I was on them, I was looking at probably 100 fish. And it was a mix of things, but I mean, they were stacked up there, man. It was Hartwell was rough for me. I didn't catch a fish in practice till I went back into the docks right before we were leaving. I caught 2 just to feel good about myself.
Yeah.
Tournament day come, I caught 3 on top water, didn't get a bite the rest of the day because I went hunting for largemouth in a place I'd never been.
Hartwell.
At Hartwell. Me and
Yeah.
Ryan went back last weekend for the No Limits, and I mean, I was doing great on the points, man. Great offshore. Lose my phone 60 inches down the drain, which wouldn't have done anything for me in any of the events I was in. Just, I was on them, and I did something similar this weekend, and I don't know. Probably what you said. I sore mouthed my own fish.
Sore mouth your own fish. I mean, let's set the stage here now. I mean, it'd been 80 degrees plus the whole week.
Mhm.
And then Saturday morning we wake up and it literally rained for 90% of the tournament and it was 55, 60 degrees. We're soaking wet. The fish are not acting right.
What were y'all getting for water temps Saturday? Because I had 77 on Friday.
I was getting like 73, 74 where I was.
Yeah. And a couple things too. You also had kind of a trifecta. You had the point, the channel swing bank, and you had cane piles holding up. I think the problem we all ran into, in my experience, since we all probably used most of our day, shaking a minnow on live scope. I don't know why. It might be just me, but on the days it's cloudy and nasty, I struggle with spotted bass. I don't know if they get a cleaner look at it because it is,
Sunnier.
dim.
Get your light
It's the same.
reflection.
It's always the same way for me at Hartwell. If I go on a bright bluebird sky day, no matter if it's windy or not, as long as it's bright and sunny, the spotted bass absolutely munch. But if it's cloudy and rainy, kind of like it wasn't a No Limit, I suck it up with spotted bass. I have to go find largemouth, and I think that probably. I don't think you did too much damage because spotted bass, they reload and they're so pelagic that it's a little bit harder to burn a loaded spot out on them than it is largemouth. But I think the little bit of pressure you put on Friday and then that huge weather change and then a lack of largemouth in that general area is probably the same thing we all ran into.
Yeah, because I couldn't even. I had to work because when I got to that spot in the morning, I don't think I caught my first fish until because we went lines in 7:30.
6:30, about 20 minutes
6:30.
later than we should have.
My first fish came in at 7:07. That's how long it took me to get set up on that point. So I probably got to that spot within 10 minutes. So from 6:10, almost an hour, it took me to finally get set up in the wind because I had to set up on a whole completely different side of that point and facing the exact opposite direction.
Yeah.
And I finally caught one. I caught 2 back to back, both spots, and then my scope went down. Somehow, I don't know what's going on with that battery. I usually get 3 trips out of it.
Yeah.
Well, I charged it Thursday night, used it Friday, and it died on me after, probably 7:15. And I managed to find a floated away dock in the back of a pocket full of bird poop from where they've been sitting on it, crapping on it. Well, I got out, geese, all kinds of stuff. and it was sitting on a tree that was laying in the water. So it wasn't anything stable like it was up on the bank. I was probably in 3 foot of water with this dock sitting on top of a tree, and I had to unload half my kayak, climb down inside that front hatch, and fish my power wire out because I have the Yak power system. So I have an SAE plug coming off my black box that goes into the Yak power, and that's how I send power back and forth to my unit. Well, I was able to undo the adapter on my 20 amp battery and put it on my trolling motor battery. And I literally had that whole wire coming off my black box pretty much across my lap the rest of the day, feed into the battery in the back. I had to get the battery as close to the back of my seat as I could. And my crate was sitting on the back corner of the kayak, just leaning over top of me. So every time I would cast, I was bumping the rocks as they were laying over the top of my head, because that was the only way I could have enough core to reach the power. But I got back up there to that spot probably an hour later. It took me to get back on going with the scope, and I couldn't get anything else. And I shot straight across to a somewhat of a pocket where it cut in between 2 pretty nice points, and it was full of brush and cane piles and nothing there. And it's just I struggled for that last fish. I probably caught 10 fish tournament day, but I was able to score 3 of them. It was very upsetting.
Yeah, that cane pile, man. I actually caught some fish off of it later in the afternoon. They were all small though, but like I said, I got there probably 7:30, 8 o'clock Friday night, and hung out in the parking lot with y'all and picked my spot. And I picked a spot where 2 points bottlenecked, and I had like a 50-yard opening into a big pocket in the back, and nobody pre-fished it, so it was kind of a seat of my pants ordeal there. And I get out there, and I'm literally sitting on the point at 6:10, and a bass boat comes up and just goes around me and starts fishing the point and I had to sit there and watch him from 6:10 to 6:30. Now, he didn't catch anything, and he left at 6:30, right where I was fishing, which is not a good sign when somebody pulls up around you. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. But I mean, in all fairness, I was watching on scope. I could see fish moving around, or first thing. But then when I started fishing, and I just couldn't get them to bite, I threw everything I had, crankbait, wiggled the minnow at them. Nothing. I couldn't. I didn't have a bite till probably 9 o'clock, 9:30. And then I caught my first one, and it was a largemouth, and I caught him off of the second point right beside where your cane piles were. And
the rock one or the one with the dock?
The rock one.
I caught my 3rd fish there.
See, I caught one there, and it was a largemouth, 15 and a half, and I was like, okay, we're going to do something here. And then right off of that point, I don't know if you found it, there was a big log pile, probably 50 yards to the left of that point. Mm-hmm. And I caught 2 spots there. Now, they weren't big. It was like a 14-incher and then a 13 and a half, but still, I had 3 fish by 10:30. So I thought I was going to have a good day. Well, I ended up, the only way I could get bit was dragging a shaky head in 25 foot of water. And if you have ever dragged an 1/8 ounce shaky head in 25 foot of water, it is freaking painful. It takes forever to sink. And
Is it down there yet?
I would literally throw my thing out and just sit there and put my pole down and watch it sink on the scope and just be like, okay, here we go. Give it a minute. And every time I twitch it, it'd come up 6-7 inches. I have to wait for it to sink back down, and it would sink back down. If they didn't want it twitching it, I literally had to drag this shaky head on the bottom like a dang Carolina rig, an 1/8 ounce shaky head. So, if you move it too much at all, it comes off the bottom. And if it came off the bottom, I wasn't getting bit. But I ended up catching 15 or 20 spots, but probably 10 of them were 8 to 10 inches. And that is all I caught all day. Mm-hmm. And I had to, at the end, to find my other 2 fish because the spots on that log pile, I got hung up on the log pile one time, and it scared them all off. So I had to wait on them to set back up, and I just didn't have time to wait. So I started running bank, and I would just sit probably 5-7 foot deep and throw up on the bank, and seawalls were key for me. If I found a seawall, I knew there was fish there.
Wait, did you say you went and run the bank?
I
What?
did. Ran
you're,
the bank.
you're done. You're kicked out.
I ran the bank. I set in 517. Throw
gotta
up
go.
there with a damn shake
No.
and drug it back off. And I ended up catching my 2 little 12-inch spots that I weighed in to complete my limit. So I finished 14th. There were 14 people with limits. I had the smallest limit. Bank beater alert. Yeah. Yeah. Now I did catch 3 of my 5 fish in 25 foot of water using my scope, but I was still dragging a damn shaky head. I drug a shaky head for 8 hours. That was the only thing I could get bit. They wouldn't bite a crankbait. They wouldn't look at my minnow. I threw a jigging spoon. I threw a hair jig. Let's see, what else did I throw? I threw an underspin. Wouldn't even come near the underspin. I saw one run away from the underspin. I was
Run
like,
away from it.
literally, I saw the spotted bass swimming. I was like, all right, Ryan said, lead the spotted bass because they're swimming, they're pelagic. I was like, all right, bet. Threw it. He swam about 5 foot closer to it, saw it, and turned around and dove straight to the bottom. And I said, well, I'm going to put the underspin down.
It's like that though. They do that to a 3-inch minnow sometimes. I've had, even Saturday, like I would be fishing in 60 feet of water and they'd be suspended like 30 feet down, and I would throw the minnow, and the minnow would be like 2 foot below the surface on an 1/8 ounce, super slow sink, and they would fly like Mach 10 from 30, 40 feet down. Like it would leave a streak on the live scope screen. On the live scope screen, they were coming up so fast, and they would run. It looked like they were about to grab it and jump out of the water, and they would slam on brakes and then go back down.
I wasn't fishing a big worm either. I was fishing a dang green pumpkin finesse worm. So my 1/8 ounce shaky head sank so slow when I was catching this fish in 25. I mean, it probably took 20 seconds or better. I'd throw the line out there and just have to let it sit and just watch the line as it sank to make sure nobody ate it on the way down.
Phew, that's brutal. I can't do that.
And then you had to drag it and keep it in constant contact. You couldn't shake the shaky head. You had to drag it like a dang Carolina ready to get bit. And I never even felt the bite. I would just pick up and they'd be swimming off with it.
Wow. Well, after 2 days, you got 2 left. Who's going to Russell?
I'm planning on it. It's all going to depend on this baby situation. If we got a new baby, I won't be there. But
I quit.
depends.
What's up, Alan?
I'll be at Santee Monster Kayak Anglers Tournament this weekend here in. You can fish Randolph's Church Branch or the Bar Pit, or Big Branch is what they're calling it, but it's Church Branch to all of us.
I don't think it's Randolph's. It's something else. It's a different ramp. It's like a dirt ramp.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's the one. It's the free ramp right down from Randolph's, I think.
Yeah, it's on the other side of the road from Big Branch.
Yeah.
It's all right together. I won't be able to. I'll be in Charlotte for a baseball tournament. I'll be there because that's one of my more fun areas to fish. You actually got clean water there.
Yeah, Potato Creek area is pretty good. As long as this, I don't know though, because with this rain we're getting this week, man, I'm worried it's going to wash out Marion too.
Well, I mean, you're just going to have to be careful too, because if it's nice on Saturday, Waibu Creek is going to be full of pleasure boaters.
Oh,
It's gonna be. It's supposed to be like sunny and 85.
It's going to be full. So if those guys fishing the SMKA tournament and they put in a Waibu, if you're watching this, I'm going to tell you, I live here. Watch out, they will run you over.
Yeah.
Well, how about Russell? I mean, have either one of y'all been to Russell?
I have not.
Not even in my dreams. I have never been. But I will tell you, just from watching videos over the years, like when they had the Bassmaster Championship there, like I'm intimidated by that lake for some reason. I don't know why. I'm gonna give it my best shot, but I don't know.
I watched the SC Yak weigh-in stuff from there. It was like what,
I'm about to pull up.
83 or 84 inches, won it. I mean, it wasn't some super big bag. I imagine it's going to be like Hartwell and Greenwood, more like Greenwood, probably 84, 85 inches takes it.
Let's see.
To me, it's like one of those clear water largemouth lakes, and I usually don't do too good with those. I don't know why.
That was more of a spot lake.
No,
No, those boys catch big largemouth in that lake. There's giants in that lake.
Yeah.
All right, big fish was a 21 and a quarter here.
Yeah. There's some way bigger than that in there.
Let's see. 96 inches won it.
Yeah. It's definitely a big fish lake. It's just it's easy to get lost on that lake. It's just you got so many creek arms and stuff, and at the end of the day, you are going mainly for largemouth to win it.
Spot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about like Greenwood. I mean, but you're gonna need largemouth to win. Same way at Greenwood.
Yeah.
Didn't Johnny catch a 19 incher down there?
Johnny Sanchez fished our no limit tournament, and he was on Russell when he fished that, and he had a pretty good bag.
Yeah.
Let's see. 18 and a half, largy. Man, look at that, 96. I mean, he won by 7 inches.
Yeah.
Um,
What was the big three? Were there big three largemouth on that?
yeah, 21 and a quarter, largy.
Mm-hmm.
20 and a quarter, largy. 18 and a half.
Spot.
That's spot. Yeah, that's a spot.
Big spot.
18 and a quarter, largy.
Yeah, looks like a largie.
Who won that one?
Jason Davis from Georgia.
When was this?
This was. Wait, I'm looking at the wrong one. This is last year.
Yeah,
Who fished that? SC Yak fished that.
yeah.
That's what it was.
I said
I'm
SC.
sorry. Are they on Tourney X?
I don't know. I've never fished one of theirs because they've been upstate.
I thought Bennett won the last one. That was on Russell last week, right?
Yeah, where is
Yeah,
SC Yak? What are they? Did they
I'm
use
not sure
Tourney
what.
X? There it is. I got it. Russell, May 3rd. I'm sorry. I was looking at freaking Bass Nation. Bennett, big fish, 22 and a half largy.
Yeah, that's more in line with
There
Russell.
we go. I'm sorry. All right, 18 and a quarter, largy. But Bennett, he can stay on the largies, man.
Yeah.
Largy. Spot. Largy.
What was the 5 fish limit?
88 and a half.
Yeah, I thought
that's about right.
88 and a half. Second place was 80.
Yeah.
Bennett's gonna be tough again. Kid's good.
Yeah. Somehow
Yeah,
me and him always end up fishing the same spot. We always fish the same spot. At Hartwell, we fish the same spot. At Greenwood.
But he changed ramps midday, didn't he? Or close to midday?
Yeah, because I think he said he only had like one small fish at his first spot.
Only 15 out of the 36 had a limit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. That lake's it's just intimidating. It's big.
6 people with skunks.
Either way, we're going. Go ahead and pack your bag.
What's the date on that?
It's way out. Like June 26th, maybe?
Oh boy. I'm probably gonna have a new baby.
Leave the backpack at home and strap the car seat better. Or you have to put a sidecar on it.
Yeah.
June 21st. That's the weekend after ours on Watery.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that one. That's going to be our next tournament for all three of us.
Speaking of ours, first one, 614 on Lake Watery.
I love watery.
That's like my favorite lake, dude. I'm just being honest.
For real?
Yep,
I've always said that.
Mine
You
too.
Vinny-
gotta get out of the house more.
Vinny at Queen City thinks I'm crazy because that's like my jam. I'd rather fish that than Santee any day. As far as South Carolina goes, that's for me. I love it. It's
Alan
semi-close.
Invited us June 7th to Murray.
You chopped out. What was that?
June 7th on Murray.
What is it?
The SC Yak.
I haven't fished one of those.
I'll have to check my schedule.
I get off that morning.
June 7th. I feel like I'll be in Charlotte that weekend, but I'll check. So what are you, June what? June 14th?
14th, yeah.
Yeah, that's my jam. Then number 2 is Murray on when? I can't see it.
8/16.
Okay.
Yeah, 8/16 on Murray.
We skipped July.
Skip
Yeah.
July. So that was the other thing in July. For the ones that are watching or might watch this later, we were talking about doing a pop-up event. The weekend of July 4th?
Yeah, something like that.
So
Oh,
July
yeah,
4th
it's
is
a saddle.
Friday.
It was like a satellite, like open water deal we were talking about.
You open water, just best 5.
I mean, we can leave it up to the group.
I think best 5. We did a no limits. I say do best 5, and we use the same. We can lock it to the. You want to lock it to the lake, so just use the same thing we did for the no limits. Same bodies.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. So yeah, we
Same
use same bodies, but this time it'd just be a best 5 event.
Yeah.
And do we want to offer some kind of specialty TOC seat for that, for like the winter?
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, we'll talk about that, everything in the next meeting, because, I mean, another possibility is, you know, if we don't do best 5, we might do like best 4, best 3, because sometimes it's so freaking hot. You might get a better turnout with like best 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm big on skipping out on. I don't fish much in July and August because it's just so brutally hot.
Yeah, I mean, we could do a best 3 and shorten the tournament. Fish till 12. Get out of there.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I'm
do a
fine
2-day
with
best
leaving
3 fish, or do it how we did it. Pick one day.
I wouldn't mess with the 2-day. I would just do 1 day, pop up, get out of there by 12, just to have a little quick.
Do we want to make it a higher paying event since it's not part of the trail?
It depends. You know, we can run a poll in the Facebook group.
And you know, the club, the guys watching, you know, drop your comments, your input as we look for stuff like that. See what's going to get more turnout. Because, you know, I mean, we could do top 3 guys, or, you know, top 10% can get a seat in the TOC.
Yeah,
And, you know, fish anybody or water that we have approved.
I wouldn't mess with the seat in the TOC, because if they fish one event with us this year, they're automatically in.
Right.
yeah, but you have some guys that might not like to travel or can't travel to some of these because we are pretty spread out here. Aside from Santee, but like somebody who lives up,
North Carolina
somebody
border.
in that Piedmont region, around Hartwell, around something like that. You know,
Yeah,
Qualify and come on down to Santee.
For those guys that live up there, keep in mind, this year, since we're only doing really a fall schedule, we're staying right around Santee, you know, lower half of the state. But next year, it will be a full state schedule. We've already decided that.
We targeted this area down here just because the only real trail we have down here right now is SMK, and they keep most of their events on the Santee region. That's just kind of what they do. And we wanted to target some more anglers down here because we're counting on the upstate guys to come through, you know.
yeah.
And you know, Watery. When's the last time you seen an actual kayak event on Watery?
The last one I fished was Queen City, but that was a multi-lake event.
Yeah.
And the only reason I fished Watery is because I could. Yeah.
That is a
That's
soul. Besides the soul event I've seen on there was PDK every year, and that was a very small trail.
Yeah, and I don't get it because Watery's absolutely loaded.
Oh,
It is.
and they stack up and pattern so well on Watery.
Yeah, like
It's consistent.
Santee's just a mud hole. You just got to luck out and throw it to the right tree. Watery, and that's a fact. They don't set up anywhere on Santee. You know, you're not going to find them on ledges and points with giant schools. You just it's just tree, dot, dot, dot. You know, that's 100%, or maybe offshore grass, but that's about it.
Or like
Water-
old craps, 100 inches throwing a speed worm all day.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and
See,
dude, nailed it.
Watery, you can pick if you like frogging, you got frogging. If you got ledges and points, you got ledges and points. You got the dock deal. You got the bait fish deal. There's just so many things you could do with Watery to fish your way. I don't understand why it gets all the hate, and it's absolutely loaded with fish.
And big ones. I mean, there's some good ones in Watery.
Yeah. You can actually go
Yeah.
to Watery and crank and not get hung up every 2 seconds.
Oh, I lost 4 crankbaits in Greenwood. All of my 5XDs and 6XDs gone.
Jeez, I didn't lose a single hook this weekend, Friday or Saturday. Not a single one.
Yeah, Alan, I like June Creek. June Creek's pretty good. I don't know if y'all can see, but there's some comments on the Facebook.
On the Facebook.
What is June Creek?
You know where June Creek's at?
No.
It's one of the big bridges. They got a bridge.
What?
Watery.
What lake?
Watery.
And it's called June Creek.
Yep.
I've never fished June Creek. I know that much.
I think it's close to Colonel Creek, isn't it?
It's further up, I think.
I thought it was
You
like
got-
one creek up from Colonel Creek. I thought June Creek was one of the big creeks right there in the middle.
Molly and Colonel are pretty much in the same.
Okay, yeah, that was it. It was Molly Creek.
Is it on the same
June
side?
Creek- Yeah.
It's on the same side as Molly?
Yeah, June Creek. No, yeah, Molly. June Creek is like
Is the next
everybody
one
knows
up?
where Everybody knows where Dutchman's is at, right?
Yes.
So if you go around that big point coming out of Molly, you go around that big point, you'll come in, you will see June Creek. It's the one that goes all the way back, and then you'll come up to Dutchman's and then the state park.
Yeah.
So yeah, June Creek's one of those smaller ones. As soon as
When
you
you
come
go-
around that main point from Molly,
Is that the creek? I might be just thinking. I might know what you're talking about. It just might be the wrong name.
you've had to fish it.
When you go in there, is there like a little road that comes down the side and a little bit like a rip-rap area, like back in the pocket? I would have to look on the map.
I think you're thinking of the other one. What's that ramp? There's a public ramp, and then there's a somewhat of a little camp back there, and they have a ramp too. I've used it before.
The reason I asked, I don't fish it out of a kayak no more because it's so much further from a ramp. But when I used
Hold
to
on.
fish out of a bass boat, that's where I fished. Or I used to fish in there.
Where is my map that I made? And
Watery
I
is
think I
one
know
of
what you're
those.
talking about.
Watery's just one of those lakes where you can really go anywhere and catch fish during that time of the year.
Yeah.
Let's see. You were talking about where Sutton's is. And that is when you go past the state park, that next one after Dutchman's. I think you're talking about Sutton's.
Fine.
Because that's the Taylor Creek. So, like, if you come out of Dutchman's and then go around the point where the state park is, that next one on that same side.
That creek I was talking about, I used to go in there and whack them with the spinner bait and those reeds.
You sure it
But-
wasn't that worm?
Worm?
That worm you like?
What worm?
That wacky worm?
No.
How about old boy getting second place on Greenwood this past week, throwing a spinnerbait on docks right there where we were. First and second place, we're both first, second, and third. We're all from the same landing.
Yeah. And I went behind him and caught 218s. They were stacked up in there.
All large. Did you not catch all largemouth?
I had 3 of my 5 was largemouth. I'm not sure about his.
Let's see. What club was that? SC Bass?
Yeah.
Greenwood. Benji. That's right. He launched with us.
He did.
Yep.
Margie.
Mm-hmm.
Spot.
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 Dang.
Spot. Spot.
It's only one.
One largemouth.
Yeah.
What'd this bomb have? Largie? Largie? I'd have laughed if that fish would have flopped off the board.
I already had 10 other pictures before that. But I had two the exact same length, so I wanted to get one with no hand on it so they could determine they were different fish.
Largie? I assume these are spots.
And two dinky spots. Yeah, one call, I'd have took it, but
Well, I mean, that would have been easy to tell, Ryan. Look at the jaw.
Go ahead and show my babies while we're doing it.
Did you
14.
get 14?
Yep.
All right, 15 and a quarter. Largie.
My one largie.
Spot. Nice toes.
Yeah, but had to bust them out. Raining.
You a feet guy? Oh, yeah. Look at them things.
Bigger than a fish.
Oh, my God. He's cheating. Look at that.
Oh,
What is that?
Hoping boy.
He's cheating.
Jeez.
Here's disappointment here. I had 83 inches in practice.
Maybe you should buy a scope.
I shouldn't I?
A real one, not that low rent stuff.
Yeah, don't waste your money on the rent.
See my wire running all the way. Yeah, I didn't have fun.
And it rained the whole time, so it just made it worse.
All day, man.
All right, we're 52 minutes in. Flip back over to our schedule real quick and let's explain why we did the last two the way we did. And then I got to head out.
Yeah.
All right. So Marion. That's event number 3 on September 13th. So how this is going to work is, what highway is that down there?
The bridge that crosses the canal?
Yep. Highway 45 bridge in the canal. So right there at Mac Daddy's, Hills Landing and all that. You cannot launch and you cannot fish. You cannot be caught below that bridge. So if you want to launch at Mac Daddy's and stay there and go up. Do not get caught anywhere below that ramp, launching, fish, anything, unless you're in distress or whatever, you'll be disqualified. Besides that, anything above Marion is a go. Or anything in there and up is a go.
From Pax Landing to the bridge.
I mean, how about the river?
There's only one ramp and it's at that bridge. It's well above it. I just can't remember the highway name of that bridge.
It's 601, right?
I'm looking now. 601 bridge. You want to cut it off there? Bates Bridge. That is in the Congaree. So from Bates Bridge to Highway 45. If you're above Bates Bridge at any point, unless you're in distress, which you shouldn't be in distress and floating upriver, that's not how that works. And you should not be below Highway 45 bridge in the canal unless you're in distress. If not, DQ. See you later. Thanks for the donation.
There's also a double dip opportunity for that tournament as well for Santee Monster. They'll be fishing Sparkleberry, which I'll be there doing that. So I'll be putting in Sparkleberry for that tournament.
Yeah, I think they have Sparkleberry and PAX open that day. So, event number 4, Santee Cooper. And that is going to be on Moultrie. That is October 4th. Same rules. You're locked to Moultrie. Do not go above the Highway 45 bridge. Launch at hills, don't go up. And you obviously can't go past the locks. So we're not locking into the Cooper River. I don't even know if you'd survive that in a kayak.
That'd be an entertaining story.
If you live to tell it. Up there at Amos, you can't really go far into that rediversion canal, right? And they're like buoys and stuff that cut you off.
No, they cut it off. You can't go far, and that current rips down that little canal. So go down there if you want to.
Yep. How about the bar pit? Are we gonna have the bar pit open for Marion?
No.
All right, no bar pit.
No.
Guys, the refugee areas. None of them should be off limits, but check the rules to make sure. I know there's one, I think, on Moultrie you have to have a permit for. Am I correct?
That's the wildlife sanctuary.
It's in between Russellville and the ditch. When you ride up that bank, I believe there's one that you have to have a permit for.
That depends on the time of the year, bro. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Check that because I'm not 100% sure. I'll do some investigating and I'll update everybody. But after those two events, okay, Alan Amick pointed that out. 913, that event on Marion, is also a joint event with SMK and Lake Murray kayak anglers. You can actually triple dip that event.
Oh, Lake Murray's coming to Santee, huh?
Alan, if you're still in here, where is Lake Murray launching from? Is it a landlocked or is it a ramp locked event or launching anywhere? Sure. See if Alan's still in here.
It may not be a triple dip because I think they're a one ramp club too.
Wow, Alan's in here. I've been buying up some of the A-squared baits. I mean, they're great.
Oh, I got a bunch of it myself, man. He makes good stuff. The shaky head I was throwing with some of his stuff.
Got a few packs of the orbs, dice, whatever you want to call them. Anybody's in here, does anybody know where the Lake Murray event is on September 13th? So now I ordered like 4 packs of his finesse worm. What do y'all call them with that funky looking tail? It's got that flat tail.
It's just a paddle tail worm. You know, it just gives it a little more action. That's pretty much what I was using on the shaky head.
I think I won those, and I've got these 10-inch ribbon tails. Yeah, Alan makes great stuff, man. And it's, you know, you pretty much hit him up, say this is the color I want, he'll make it. I mean, it's not like you're ordering off of a list or whatever. He makes what you want.
Yeah, that's A-squared, and then I know Blair was in here too, and
yes,
Tactical Fishing Company sponsors the club, man, and makes great stuff. Those worms I showed at the beginning of the broadcast, his new privates, you cannot go wrong on Santee with those privates. They are outstanding.
I would show you his stuff, but I actually don't keep any of it in here. It's all in my bags back and forth between my kayak and boat.
I got you.
So that private is going to be fire. And I tell you what, I ain't knocking on these guys. Hint, hint. But
here you go. Here's some of Blair's stuff. Look at the tail on that speed worm. That thing kicks like crazy.
Alan said that the Lake Murray event will be PAX and Sparkleberry. So triple dip event if you want to launch from PAX or Sparkleberry. But back to the TFC and that private, I tell you what, the guys that fish a speed worm religiously are the ones that designed that worm. So, I mean, they have done nothing but taken what the speed worms that are already out and perfected them even better.
I've been begging Blair for them since he let me test them out at the Spires tournament. They didn't launch until last week, and I ordered 5 packs as soon as I think I ordered more than that. I think I ordered 8 or 9 packs as soon as they dropped, and I've been begging Blair for them back and forth.
You better quit buying fish and stuff. Y'all keep dumping Dookie water in Jeffers Creek, you're gonna be without a job.
Look here, we ain't talking about that. That's real world stuff. Nope, not me. Not me. But all right, well, I gotta get off of here. It's been an hour.
Alrighty. But if you good, we'll elaborate on the TOC real quick. That'll be Santee Cooper. Just like it says, you fish one of these events. I don't care if you catch a fish or not, you qualify for TOC. I think that's similar to how the Cat Trail does it. It is a open lake. You can fish from Marion or Moultrie, anywhere on there. Those same upper and lower boundaries.
Public access.
Yep, any public access, and that includes campgrounds or whatever. Private ramps that you can go in there. Well, I guess they're not private, but pay ramps count as well. Anybody can go there and pay them $5 or $10 ramp fees. It's public access. It doesn't have to be just free. We're going to do a point. Go ahead.
We're going to try to make this TOC a big deal. Get some sponsorship dollars and stuff. We've already got some. Try to make that thing an event worth coming to.
With the points, I think we tasked Ryan with that part. He's still figuring out, how he wants to set up the points, but we're going to keep up with those for those 4 events that we have listed. Your best 3 events are going to count, so you get 1 drop, and whoever is first in points, as of right now, your prize or whatever for being first in points is you get a free entry to the TOC, because the TOC will be a little bit more expensive than the other entries just because of what it is. But
the payout will be more.
Yeah, we're trying to make it as big of a payout as possible. The more guys that show up, the more money in the pot and the more spots we can pay out. We're trying to pay out as many spots as we can. We have not decided on a date. I'm talking with a sponsor for a venue on the lake, because all of our weigh-ins are going to be virtual except that one. We're trying to get a venue set up for that one. So the dates are looking like right now somewhere in December, just because of November being tied up between SMK's TOC and then also SC B.A.S.'s TOC. And the Jacob started tagging along with me and Ryan, and we've been prioritizing SC B.A.S. so far this year. That's been our juice. So we've been having a great time. Jacob's, that's your second event you tagged along with us?
Yeah, I fished Hartwell and Greenwood.
Yeah. So, man, that SC B.A.S. trails, I'm enjoying it. I'm learning a lot. It's been a good opportunity for me.
But I'll be there full time next year. I'm going to fish that one in SMKA and then kind of moonlight with the Lake Murray guys occasionally. But with the new baby coming this year, I want to try to stay close to home if at all possible.
But, you got 3 TOCs that you have opportunity for, that at least that I know of, that are going to be on Santee Cooper. Is Queen City back on Santee Cooper again this year for the TOC?
I don't know where their TOC is.
It is on Santee.
So do you know when theirs is?
It's always in November.
Okay. So between November and December, you have 4 kayak clubs that will be on Santee Cooper.
For
SC B.A.S., you need to finish top 5 after drops. Pay your dues, go fish SC B.A.S. SMK, pay your membership. They fish Santee every month. What do you got to do for Santee or SMK? Win a tournament, you qualify?
Win a tournament, you qualify. Win the Firecracker tournament, you qualify. Or be in the top 5 in AOY at the end of the year.
Now, do they do drops for AOY for the spots that are already taken from tournament winners?
Not yet.
Really?
We'll see. They're voting on it now.
Okay. All right. Then you've got, who was the other one? Queen City. Queen City. Pay your dues, fish their events. I don't know if it's too late for points. How's their work? Is it just points, or is that events as well?
It's 7. It's 7, so you're probably too late at this point.
Yep, you may be too late for Queen City. Now, doesn't he do these pop-up satellite events?
Not yet, but they don't. Yeah. There's true satellites this year.
But if you the one he just did on Lake
Hickory.
Hickory was paying out a TOC seat. So it's just this. If you got a chance, do it. And then you've got our stuff. All you got to do is show up to one event. I mean, the guys that are closer to upstate, come down to Murray. If you enjoy watery, come on down to this. And we have 2 events on Santee Cooper to lead into the fall winter patterns. You fish both our events, it should have you set to fish all these TOC events coming in November and December.
Yeah.
So, Platt said tournament winners that are in the top 5 don't count. It will go to the next man in points.
Oh, there you go. Straight from an admin.
So, straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, well, it's Platt's.
What is he? Is he a bank beater?
Oh, he's in that other group. Yeah,
Yeah, and we'll have that little thing coming up soon too. We just haven't announced that yet.
Yeah, I'll do a little teaser for that. Just as our last little thing here, we're gonna have a charity tournament. Right now it's for Heroes on the Water, but there could be other charities involved too. Where we have the scope boys, the wiggle minners, and versus some bank beaters. So it'll be a good time. We're planning some live coverage. We're planning some other stuff, TBD, maybe some mystery tackle box type stuff with some of our sponsored like TFC and Alan. If you're interested, we can get you some info if you'd like to participate in that.
Donate some stuff or whatever.
Yeah, donate some stuff. It's going to be a completely 100% charity event just for fun, but it'll be a lot of trash talking going on there for sure.
And just for the record, the people participating will win nothing out of this. We're paying an entry fee. As a matter of fact, I'm going to sponsor the Tourney X bill. I'm going to cover that out of my business. I've already talked to Andrew about that. But the guys that are actually fishing it, we're paying an entry fee, but we're not taking any money out of it. The money is for the people that want to. We're probably talking about doing a little bet thing. People can bet on which team they think is going to win. It's going to be a team event. So that's where the money and prizes will come into play. Nothing's for us.
It'll be a team event, and there'll be some live coverage talking about having some camera boats. I've actually volunteered my bass boat as a camera boat. Somebody can ride around and
yeah, I won't be doing that.
Yeah, well, my bass boat's paid for.
Yeah, mine's not.
But all right, I'm gonna get off of here.
Yep. Well, for anybody in the comments, any last minute questions before we get off? We're going to try to do this, maybe every so often. Start a little hot topic.
Yeah, so we're almost an hour and 10 minutes in. I know it probably drug out a little bit, but we're going to get better at this. We'll probably do this, like he said, after every event. We'll bring the winners on, interview them, maybe cut down to 20, 30-minute little shows. But it's just something extra to kind of give you guys down in our area something to do, something to look forward to. And, hopefully some other guys from upstate, maybe a little further, can get in on it too. But we're growing. Just give us time. Our schedule is going to branch out, like Jacob said, a whole lot more next year. And we'll see where it takes us.
All right. Yeah, Alan, I'll get up with you for that. I'm not seeing any questions, so.
All right, guys. Night.
That's what we got. Everybody have a good night. Catch y'all in the group chat later on.
See y'all at Russell.
All right, later.
Yep.